How many of you guys are in a romantic relationship? All right, I asked a room full of high performers, hands shot up, and I called on one of the guys. And I said, how long have you been in the relationship? He said, we've been dating for about 1.5 years. He said, let me ask you this. Let's say you guys are on your way to class, and you're about to separate for the day, and you turn to her, and you say to her, I hope you have a good day today, just not as good as mine. How would that go over with her? He started smiling. He said, I would not be getting a goodbye kiss, right? So you would probably never say that if you want to have a good relationship. Can we agree with that? Now, here's what's interesting. He's a good athlete. So I want you to think about your team. I want you to think about the teammate that plays your position. Tell me if you've ever had this thought. I want you to have a really, really good day today. I really do. Just not quite as good as me because I kind of want the playing time. Same thing, right? So he looked at it and he started to say, and so when you have those thoughts, it's difficult for good relationships to exist. Can we agree with that? So that's something that I struggled with when I went on to play basketball in college. I called it the freshman conflict. I roomed with my teammate. My teammate played the same position as me, and every day in practice, our coach would pit us against one another. So that sounded like, hey, Brett, if you don't play better, Mike's going to take your spot. So the way I looked at it is the only way I won is if what? He lost, and the only way he won is if I lost. So it made it really difficult for me to root for him. Why? Because I felt like what? I was rooting against myself, right? Has anybody ever heard of Mike Krzyzewski? Okay, where does he coach? Duke University, right? Now, they have a pretty good program at Duke. Can we agree with that? So a lot of the players that go there are the best from where they come from. So no one really goes into Duke thinking, you know what, I'm going to go there, I'm going to sit the bench, I'm going to wait my turn, and I'm going to be a really good teammate. What do they think? I'm going to go there, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to figure out how to get on the floor immediately, right? So this is something that Coach K tells all of his freshmen when they come to Duke. I would have benefited greatly if I would have heard his advice that he told me earlier.
We tell every player that comes into our program, each of you run your own individual race. And then collectively, we're running a team race. I'll give you an example. Elton Brand and Shane Battier came in the same year. Shane Battier was the National High School Player of the Year. Elton Brand was ranked, he was a McDonald's All-American, was ranked about 18th to 20th. Elton Brand was more ready to play, though, than Shane, as far as his future. And so Elton Brand, by the end of his sophomore year, was the National Player of the Year and the #1 draft pick in the NBA. If Shane Battier was running Elton Brand's race, he'd be disappointed. What's happening to me? Shane had a different race to run. 2 years later, he was the National Player of the Year. He was the 6th pick in the NBA draft. I'm not saying everybody will be National Player of the Year or be in the NBA draft. I'm just saying that kids mature and come along, some faster and then stop, some slower and then faster, and some who never stop. Don't gauge yourself with what another kid is doing. Gauge yourself on how you are doing.
The word compete, here's where it comes from. Competere, and it means to strive together, to look at competition as a partnership. Now I'm going to ask you a question. How would you answer this? When would you run faster? By yourself or with someone else? With someone else, right? I talked to a lot of athletes, and they picked this one. Why? Competition, many different reasons, right? But what does this show us? That we need other people to push us to a level that we could not get to on our own, right? So I want to show you an example of another philosopher, little Kanye West action, okay? Now, what's interesting is Kanye is oftentimes compared to Drake, so he's going to talk about how he views Drake, but also how he views competition.
I look at Drake as like an amazing sparring partner.
Way up, I feel blessed.
Someone's like, come on, man, get back up. Bow, get back up. What's up? What's up, bro? What you doing? Because, you sit there. I was sitting there getting fat, you know, sitting back, just knocked everybody out. And then this guy hits the gym. He's just like running around like, bah, 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 14 hits. Same as Paul McCartney, bow, you know. I'm like, well, okay, let me go to the studio then. Let's see what's happening. Let me get these lyrics up. Let me see what's happening. So that's where we're at right now. That's where you're getting these records from, yeah.
Is it still one of the greatest values in the hip-hop is the competition?
I think it's an important part of it. You know, I think it's an important part in everything. I think in fashion, architecture, anything there has to be a competition. You know, I think healthy competition is better than rivalry. I think rivalry becomes a cancer. It becomes like termites in your house. But I think healthy competition is something where you appreciate how hard this person goes. You know, like, I think that Michael needed Prince. Everybody needs somebody to kick their ass a little bit.
What do you guys think? Right? So he said there's two types of ways you can view competition. What are they? Healthy and rivalry. If you view it as rivalry, what do you say? It becomes a cancer and it grows inside of you. It's negative. We all experience that. Can we agree? How can we view it as healthy competition? By looking at it as what? Appreciating how hard someone else goes. How do you view Drake? As a sparring partner, a partner in challenge, right? Now, what's interesting is, do you guys know who Abby Wambach is? Arguably one of the best soccer players of all time. When I first met with Abby, the very first thing I did, I showed her this video clip of Kanye, and I asked her, what are your thoughts on it? Here's what she told me.
As an athlete and as a person, we have all these things that go on in and around, whether it's on the field or off the field, endorsements and playing time and goals scored and assists scored, and oh, the crowd cheered louder for her and not me, and you know, there's all these opportunities to compete against each other. But the reality is, there's a very slight thing that I always say with our forward group is we need to compete with each other. You know, we need to keep pushing each other and pushing each other's limits. And in my opinion, that is the only way to continually evolve positively as a human race over all aspects of things.
So as Abby went along, she was often compared, especially towards the end of her career, to Alex Morgan, right? And so she started to view competition a little bit different. Here's how I think she viewed it. Instead of looking at it as me versus you, she changed the middle word. What'd she change it to? Me with you. And then my contest is against myself from yesterday, and your contest is against yourself from yesterday. If we all looked at competition like that, how would that help teams? You've changed the enemy, right? Your teammate's no longer the enemy, they're your partner in challenge. And you guys are both trying to beat yesterday. And to me, that's what it looks like to strive together. Thank you guys very much.